Welcome in. Jesse Shule here from jesseshule.com. We got the Saturday morning kickoff show, week 12, and I've got three more special guests joining me today. We got Kevin Thomas coming in to talk Ohio State and Minnesota. Kevin was against me in the Patriots-Colts game last Sunday, and I was on the right side of that. I've been kicking the boys' ass lately. Each show going 2-1, letting the boys have one win. The Thursday kickoff show, we had Sean Higgs join me, and we're gunning for a perfect 3-0 sweep against the Challengers. But I know the Challengers are feeling pretty good about themselves today. I think everybody's riding hot streaks. First up, we're going to bring in Joey Tron from the Insiders Room, and he's going to talk about the James Madison Dukes. I know he's really big on this college game day matchup, and I want to hear what he has to say. So let's bring in Joey Tron.
Yeah,
how goes the battle, Joey?
How's it going?
Oh, I'm going good. Yeah, Joey, did you want me to go first on this one, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, on Thursday you went first, so I guess I'll go first this time.
Okay, before you go, I'm just going to give you something to ponder, just a little nugget, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah,
there are currently 7 undefeated teams in Division One. There's only been 6 teams finish with an undefeated record in the last decade, and there hasn't been a single season where more than one team has finished with a perfect record. So you can just ponder that while you take the squarest side on the board, a 10-0 team as a double-digit favorite on College Game Day. So go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, so I like James Madison to cover this 9.5 point spread, Jesse. All the hype is here for College Game Day, and I really think the Dukes are battle tested and are ready for this. They're 7-3 against the spread on the season and 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games overall. App State is 4-5-1 against the spread this year, and just 2-3 against the spread their last 5 games. James Madison has one of the best rush defenses in college football, and they're only allowing just 61 rushing yards per game, and they're holding teams to 33% on third down. And I think that low number on third down is a big advantage here for James Madison. Getting their defense off the field and bringing their offense on is going to be huge. They're allowing just 18 points per game, and they have held teams below that in 4 of their last 5 games played. There's no denying App State. They have a really good offense, but they really rely on their rushing game, and I really think it's going to be a challenge for them against this James Madison defense. They've only had some decent wins recently. They beat Marshall, they beat Georgia State, but they had a really bad loss to Old Dominion, and that really worries me coming into this game. James Madison offense, they're averaging nearly 441 yards of offense per game, and they're averaging 34 points, but we've seen them go over this 2 of their last 3, scoring 44 and 42 points. I really look for James Madison to open up their run game early and slowly progress with passing as they hit the second half. All the lights are on James Madison right now, and I think they're shining today, Jesse.
Well, excellent analysis, Joey, but I feel as though you're almost playing into my hand here. You did mention Old Dominion, and I've got that in my notes that just a few weeks ago, James Madison beat Old Dominion at home by a score of 30-27, a 3-point win in a very tight game. You mentioned that App State struggled against Old Dominion 28-21. It was a 7-point loss on the road. So that's a common opponent. Both these teams played 1-score games against that common opponent. And we got James Madison getting 9.5 here. This line opened at 12. And understandably, the bookmakers are thinking of this. They're saying, we got a 10-0 team. It's a big hype train, and I got to fade that hype. And I'm not alone. A lot of sharps hit that opening number. It went from 12 down to 8.5 quite quickly. But of course, on the day of the game, the square bettors come out, pump that number up a little bit more. We got 9.5 now. My analysis isn't going to be as in depth and as technical as yours. I'm essentially just fading the hype. I'm taking a quality team that's won 3 straight games. They haven't lost by more than a touchdown all season long. They played a lot of the same teams and been in all those games. There's no doubt that both teams are going to be up for this game, the fact that it's the College Game Day match. So, and then you got the 10-0 team, the undefeated teams. 7 undefeated teams currently in Division One. And like I said, only 6 undefeated teams over the last decade in Division I. We've got to go back to 2009, the last time we saw 2 undefeated teams in a season. That happened in that happened in 2009 and 2010. We got to go back to 2004, the last time we've seen 3 teams finish with an undefeated record. So I'd say those 7 teams that are undefeated right now, I'd look to go against them in the next week or two. So that's where I stand, Joey. I'm taking the points. Before I let you go and send you backstage, why don't you tell us about all your recent winnings, all that money piling up over at Insider's Room, and how everybody can get in on that?
Yeah, you can find me at Betting Underdog on Twitter. You can find me at Joey Chuan on Insider's Room. I'm on a 39-18 all sports run, Jesse. I'm 8-3 in my last 11 college football. I got 2 college football plays and an NHL play up today. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to have a great weekend.
Go Cajuns. Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, I guess. I have not looked at that game. I don't have an opinion on that game, so I cannot answer that question. Well, thanks for joining us, Joey. I'm going to send you backstage. We're going to bring out Kevin Thomas. So, Kevin, you're here to take another undefeated team, and they're laying a whole bunch of points. You want to go first, or you want me to go first with this one? I think you're muted, Kevin. Maybe I muted you.
Am I still muted?
No, you're good. You're good to go.
All right. Yeah, it's like the Patriots game. I was undefeated till that game. So you can go ahead and go first, buddy. I'll jump off.
You want me to go first? Okay. Well, again, I did cite the record of undefeated teams, 7 undefeated teams. I don't expect the majority of those teams to remain undefeated. I'm not going to call for an outright win for Minnesota here. In fact, there's not a lot of stats that I can throw at you that are going to make Minnesota look good. They're just not a very good team. I do like their coach, though, in a spot like this when they're overmatched, and it's going to take a lot of guts to compete with Ohio State. PJ Fleck's the kind of guy that just lives to spoil the party for a team like Ohio State. And of course, we got the look-ahead spot. You know, the Michigan game's on deck. We have seen this Ohio State team struggle offensively all season long. In fact, if you look at the games that they've won by 20-plus points, they've usually been neck and neck, and they pulled away at the last 5 minutes of the game. The team trying to catch up, pick sixes and turnovers, and all of a sudden they go from barely winning to covering a big number. Yeah, and that might happen here as well, but I'm not going to bet on that. 28 points is a big number for me. And you know, aside from Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not that impressed with this team. In particular, the quarterback, Kyle McCord. You look at his numbers, 2,687 yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 picks, 10 games into the season. I mean, for a lot of guys, that's a good year, but not at Ohio State. Not on a 10-0 team that's ranked number 2 in the country, scores a ton of points, and you're only throwing for 20 touchdowns. To put it in perspective, last year C.J. Stroud threw 41 touchdown passes for this team and had 3,688 yards. McCord, I think if you put him on a team like Minnesota or Illinois, he would be a bum, a complete bum. He's lucky to be here, and I don't think he's good enough to cover a 28-point spread with his arm, and I don't think he's good enough to lead the Buckeyes to a national championship. Sorry, Ohio State fans, but that's how I feel. But Kevin Thomas, he's got your back. He thinks differently. So, Kevin, tell us what you got.
I love Ohio State here in this spot. I mean, 28, 27.5, wherever you can get that spread. Now, I know this is a public bet. I saw 61% of the public on Ohio State and only 30% of money. Me, technically, I usually stay away from these games. I try to find the sharp angle, which would be Minnesota in this spot. But with all the injuries to Minnesota, and I know there's a look ahead here to Michigan, but this is Ohio State's last regular season home game. You don't tell me these kids aren't going to come out and play. Ryan Day isn't one to let off the gas. Now, in the last game, third quarter, he let all his starters the majority of starters come out. But their defense is so good, it didn't matter. They still put up 0 point, and the Penn State game, that should have been 6-20. They just let Penn State go down with the, couple seconds left and score a touchdown because the game was out of hand. So Minnesota, PJ Fleck already came out and said it. It's no match. His defense is injured. It's going to be a tough one. And Minnesota still gets to go home and have a decent home game. So why chance all these kids going out here getting hurt? I think Ohio State puts the throttle down. Defense gets 2 scores, and then you don't need that much from McCord. And they want to get the running game going. That's Ohio State's weakness, the running game. They're second nationally against the pass. Minnesota's ranked at the bottom, 127 plus in pass. So Minnesota already comes into this game one-dimensional. So you're going to take that great Ohio State defense against a one-dimensional Minnesota team in Big Ten against a team that doesn't care about running the score up. Like Ryan Day, he'll run it up all day. He likes those points, and it looks good too. Imagine if you get Ohio State, Florida State, all these guys finishing with ties. Well, then they're going to start looking at strength of schedule and points scored. The look ahead to Michigan, that's on the road. That's not a look ahead. I think he has these guys focused here. I'm going to ride with Ohio State. I think they win by 32.
All right, Kevin. Well, I concede the fact that the numbers are on your side. All the stats point toward Ohio State here. I will offer advice for Ryan Day, though. If he wants to have a shot in hell of the playoffs and beating Michigan, he better be awful careful with Marvin Harrison Jr. because if anything happens to him today, the Buckeyes are in big, big trouble. All right, I'm going to put you backstage, Kevin, and I'm going to bring out Rye Cape.
Oh, let me promote myself.
Yeah, that's right. All those winnings at sportsmemo.com. I've seen you on the leaderboards. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, it's usually a slow start, especially college basketball and NBA. But then once those lines start sinking in pretty good, I like to read the lines a lot. But I do have my college football ACC Game of the Year up today. It's my first one. Well, I only give one because it's ACC Game of the Year, and it's a big one. And I think a lot of people will be shocked when they see who it is because it is as sharp as you can get, and I love it in that game. So make sure to check that out. Like I always say, 30-day packages get you everything: college basketball, NBA, football, college football, hockey. It's all going on. You can't go wrong, especially guys like on weekends. I got 7 plays right now, and I still didn't even get to the NBA yet because I like to wait a little bit because you know how the NBA is. These guys get to take rest days and stuff, so you got to really focus on the back-to-back, who's injured, and all these questionable status for the players. So there's still going to be 1 or 2 more plays that come out just in NBA. So make sure to go check that out. And follow me on Twitter, Kevin Thomas04. Last night, another prop cash with Jeremy Grant going over 30 points. So 30 points, assists, and rebounds.
And you can find the link to Kevin's capper page at sportsmemo.com in the description box below this video. Click that link and you'll see everything Kevin's got going on over at Sports Memo. Thank you, Kevin. And we'll bring you back out in a second. I just got to talk to Rye here about our ACC Game of the Year. Well, Rye, you took me down last Saturday, didn't you?
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I'd like to be referred to as Blade because I slayed that vampire trend.
Woo, yeah, that vampire trend went down in flames. A little bit too much garlic, I think. So you going to go first or you want me to go first?
Yeah,
it's up to you.
Go first. I'd love to go first.
You go at her.
All right, so let's bang this one out. So at the beginning of the season, you probably thought that Clemson would be the ranked team playing here for a chance at the ACC championship. This line certainly is priced that way. North Carolina is the ranked team, hoping to get a shot at the ACC championship. Actually, keep an eye out for those Miami Hurricanes today. But if UNC wins out, Louisville loses, UNC will be in that game. We could also put the Mac Brown retirement rumors to bed. On Thursday, he announced that he'll return in 2024. He does have some big wins with this UNC team. The strength in this game are UNC's offense, against Clemson's defense. UNC is the top scoring offense in the ACC. They're led by Drake May. He's a top QB prospect in NFL. He'd love to show out against the Clemson defense that ranks second in pass defense in the ACC and second in interceptions. A team that's also tied with them for second in interceptions in ACC is this North Carolina team. As far as Drake May, he ranks first in the league, third in the country in passing yards per game at 314. He leads the conference in passer rating at 157. He's second in completion percentage at 65.8 and passing touchdowns at 21. He's also mobile. He can extend plays, run for positive yards. Obviously, UNC's offensive line isn't great, but May gets the big yards when he's pressured. Defenders see him running, and that leaves a receiver wide open for a big pass play. But this offense is not one-dimensional. They have Omarion Hampton. He's one of the top running backs in the country. He ranks second in the country and first in ACC in rushing yards at 1236. He averages 6 yards per carry. He has 12 rushing touchdowns. If Clemson tried to take away the run, May's going to throw the ball all over the place. Vice versa if they try to take away the passing game. I know Death Valley is a tough place to play, but this is the best offense that Clemson has seen. If this game is a shootout, Clemson's not going to be able to keep up. I'm not saying that Clemson loses here, but I think North Carolina keeps it within the number.
All right, Rye, I will concede that the number looks a little out of whack when you've got a 4-loss Clemson team laying now 7.5. At 6.5, it looked out of whack, and now it just looks plain old insane at 7.5. But all the money is coming in on Clemson, sharp money, public money, and I think that money's coming in for a reason. You're probably going to be pretty surprised about where I go with this analysis, Rye, but can I ask you a question? When you were a kid, did you watch Scooby-Doo?
Of course I did.
And what happens at the end of every Scooby-Doo episode?
They pull off the mask and
the bad guy. They pull off the mask of the monster, the bad guy, and they're like, "Oh, Old Man Brown," So I'm going to compare this game to Scooby-Doo. The Tar Heels are the bad guy for me, and you pull off the mask, and who's there? It's USC. Compare the Tar Heels to USC in the Pac-12. High-powered offense, great quarterback, Heisman candidate. Everything's there. They beat up on bad teams. As soon as they face a good team, they get crushed. And they got no defense. No defense, as evidenced by the fact that Duke, with their third-string quarterback, scored 45 points against this UNC team last week. That's why all the money's on Clemson here. That combined with the fact that Clemson won 39-10 in this game last year. And, the idea that Clemson is, 4 losses, people are down on Clemson, but I want to get into that a little bit because let's look at some of those losses. So they lose on the road to Duke in week 1, and everybody's like, oh, man, what a terrible loss. But that Duke team, unlike the team that the Tar Heels played last week, with that Duke team, with Riley Leonard at home with that Mike Elko defense, no shame in losing to that Duke team. That Duke team went to Florida State and was winning in the third quarter at Florida State. And speaking of Florida State, of course, Clemson loses to Florida State. I want to refresh your memory on how that game played out because Clemson had a chance to kick a field goal at the end of the game to win that game, and they had a backup kicker, missed the field goal, goes to overtime, they lose. They were right in that game. They should have won. It was a chip shot field, a 30-yard field goal got missed. A couple losses that I'm not going to hold against them. Of course, the loss to NC State wasn't great, but NC State is a little bit of a giant slayer. I just think this, against a soft team with a soft defense, the thing about Clemson is they put themselves in great field position with their defense, and then they don't do anything with it because their offense isn't that great. But when offenses that aren't that great meet defenses that can't stop anyone, they don't stop them. And if Clemson's going to score when they put themselves in those situations, I like them to run away with it because I think their defense gets the stops. And my take on it is I wouldn't bet it at 7. I would, if I'm going to bet this game, I'm betting it at 6.5. Now that it's 7.5, we've lost a little bit of value. I still think Clemson wins this game by double digits. I think it's what happened last year all over again. But granted, the number looks pretty darn big for a team with a better record playing a team with 4 losses. So, Rye, before we bring everybody else back in, why don't you tell us about all your wins piling up? Because I've seen you on the leaderboards as well.
Yeah, after a brutal October, I've had a phenomenal November. Pretty happy. I am 17-3 in my last 20 overall. I've been doing well in pretty much every sport: college football, NFL, NBA, NHL. You can find me at RyCape on all social media. This play will be put up as a free play on pickadvisor.com. I'm also on Winners and Winers. I am the football capper of the week this week. So with that, you're going to get 7 football plays for Saturday, Sunday, Monday for $79 if you want to check that out. And also you can find all my premium plays on insidersroom.com.
And the link for Rye's capper page at Insider's Room is in the description box below this video. Rye, we're going to bring the boys in. We're going to have about a 5-minute chat, and then we're going to get ready to kick back, have a brewski, maybe some snacks, and watch some football today. I don't know about you boys, but that's what I'm going to do, minus the brewski because I'm on a diet.
I'll drink yours.
So let's talk about this 7 undefeated teams in Week 12, because I think that's kind of phenomenal. And let's name the 7. I guess we got Washington, Georgia, Texas, Florida State, Liberty, and James Madison, and Ohio State. Is that the 7? Did I get it?
Texas lost one.
Texas lost the Red River rivalry. Okay.
It's Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida
Michigan.
State,
I forgot about Michigan.
James Madison, Liberty.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, only 6 undefeated teams in the last decade. 7 right now. How many of those teams do you think are going down before it's all said and done? Do you guys think there's going to be value in betting against them in their next 2 games? I mean, there's only going to be there's going to be this week, next week, and bowl games or playoff games, right?
Yeah, well, Michigan plays Ohio State next week, so one of those teams are going to take a loss. That takes one of them down. As we see today, Washington is an underdog, so I guess they're on upset alert. I don't think Florida State loses.
Yeah, no, as much as I want to bet against them with a 28-point spread, I don't see Minnesota winning the game.
I mean, Georgia could take a loss. I guess they'll be playing Alabama.
Alabama in the championship game.
Yep. So that could be a scary one as well. But yeah, I'd like to see some things shaken up in that top 4.
I mean, it just makes sense to me, though, that the bookmakers, they got to set a line, and there's not going to be a big appetite to bet against undefeated teams, right? Such as the James Madison game this week. I mean, nobody wants to bet against James Madison except for really sharp pros. The public sees a 10-0 team. There's all the talk about they can't play a bowl game, and everybody's up in arms. Did anybody catch College Game Day today? And Pat McAfee was really up in arms about it, calling it a travesty and a controversy and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it, but I feel like that's gotta be a blow to the team just in general.
Yeah, well, I guess they just got word that their appeal was denied. Yeah. Here's what I'm thinking. From where I stand, they knew when they got promoted that they couldn't play a bowl game. So this was coming into the season. This was the rule, and now they go 10-0 and they're asking for an exception. The 10-0 to me is irrelevant. The rules are the rules, And the fact that you go 10-0 shouldn't change the rules to me. So if you were upset about the rules, you should have been upset in week 1. If Pat McAfee and the game day crew were upset about it, they should have been upset about it in week 1. But to wait until a team goes 10-0 and then go, oh, wait a second, that's not how we deal with things in the world of sports, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm 100% on board with that.
I think we're
Not
just
to say,
Go 10
not to say that I don't, not that I'm not saying that I don't think they should change the rule and allow promoted teams to play in for championship games or bowl games. I'd support changing the rule, but I just don't support the idea of waiting till a team is 10-0 before you start speaking up about it. That's my point.
Yes, saying something in week 12.
So you guys have premium picks on the Washington-Oregon State game.
I do not.
Me, no.
So who does everybody like in that game?
So I've been a big supporter of Washington all season. I've been on a lot of shows hyping them up. I was pretty shocked that they were underdogs here. I didn't even personally touch this game. I want to see Washington win. Market tells me otherwise. So, yeah, I think they're going to get their loss today.
I guess the Beavers could, I mean, if you want to think like conspiracy theory angle, right? The Beavers could do the playoff committee a favor by eliminating the Pac-12 from contention, right? And, I'd like to see the Pac-12 get in there myself, but I know a lot of people wouldn't, right? A lot of the East Coast money, the SEC crowd, they have no appetite to see a Pac-12 team make the playoffs over, I think most college football fans east of California want the loser of the SEC championship game in the playoffs, right? And we see that every year. In fact, to the point where the Pac-12 champion might deserve to be in, might not get in, still might get knocked out by a one-loss SEC team. So
that's why you got to root against Alabama
as well. I think if Michigan loses in the Big Ten championship, I think they still get in, and Ohio State might get in with one loss as well.
I think the Pac-12 screwed if Washington loses here.
I think if Alabama
even though
loses,
I actually think Oregon
will sneak in.
I think Oregon's the better of the two teams myself, but a one-loss Oregon, I don't see a one-loss Oregon team getting in over a one-loss Michigan team. I think Rye's right. If you got Michigan losing in the championship game and you got a one-loss Oregon team, do you really see the committee taking that Oregon team over a one-loss Michigan team?
No.
I don't think.
I think Alabama, one-loss Alabama team gets in over them. I think a one-loss Texas team gets in over them. Yeah,
I could maybe see them getting in over Texas. I guess Texas, their leading rusher got hurt the other day, so they're a bit wounded. Their stock is a little bit down. I think Texas is sort of on life support as far as
it's Bo Nix though, right? Everyone's talking about Bo Nix and the Heisman Trophy and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, if he wins,
he's going to bring money. He's going to.
That's true. If he wins the Heisman, it's going to be hard to keep him out. I think Oregon definitely deserves to be in if they win the Pac-12 championship, but
I do too.
I know that they love to keep them out. They love to keep those Pac-12 teams out for one-loss Big Ten and SEC teams. Any other big games anybody want to talk about before we get out of here? We're almost at the 30-minute mark, and that's when the buzzer goes off, and it's time to eat snacks and watch football.
Yeah, no.
Tennessee, Georgia. Anybody got premium picks on that?
Yeah,
can we talk about that one?
I do.
Too.
I think I know who you boys are on. I do not have any premium picks on Tennessee, Georgia. If I was going to bet the game, it would be betting on Tennessee in a buy low spot after getting their butts kicked by Missouri last week, but couldn't bring myself to bet against Georgia, even only getting 10 points, so had to pass on that one.
I have to look at the under in
Tennessee
that
loves
one.
to burn me.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining me here, and I hope to catch you soon, next Saturday perhaps. And I wish you good luck on all your premium picks this week, but I don't wish you any good luck when you're going against me. So thanks for stopping by, and good luck unless you're against us.
Let's cash some tickets.